guys. Happy Tuesday. It is Tuesday, my dudes. First Facebook Live of the week, at least for me. I know there are so many others out there, but this is the first one for me of the week, which makes it, you know, important, if you will. They're all important, right? Hi, Nancy. Hi, Ruth. Hi, three others. I don't know who three others is, but hi to you. How are you doing? Oh, goodness. You guys, some of you are completely snowed in. What is up with that? Why have you not sent me your snow? We got buckets and buckets of cold rain. We got a little bit of ice, like there's ice right now. There are some snow flurries just kind of blowing around, but for the most part, we just got freezing, horrible rain. You guys are just not sharers. I just don't understand. Don't you love me? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I wish I had some of your snow. And for those of you who are snowed in and wish that you had less, I wish I could take it from you. I gladly would. Oh my gosh, Lori says 8 inches. I've not seen 8 inches of snow in, gosh, it's been years since we've had that much snow here. Hi, live wires, my friends. Do you want ice? No, we got some of that. We got some of that part. I'm not a big fan of the ice part. Penelope says I can have her snow. I would gladly take it from you. I love the snow. I love the cold weather. I'm just like living in the wrong place, I think. I need to move to the mountains, I believe. I'm not much of a beach person. I don't do hot weather, but I can really enjoy some snow. Hi, Karen. Oh my gosh, Julia says it's -2 degrees here. So I've got a friend who's a truck driver, and he checked in yesterday. He sent me some pictures. He and his wife, I've been friends with him for a really, really long time. I don't know how she manages. I got to be honest with you, because he's gone all the time. But he always sends like all his friends like a weather update, right? To let everybody know like what the weather is, where he is when he's traveling. And I don't know where he was. I missed that part. But he sent a picture and said it was -3 degrees. He was in like a big truck stop, and there were all the trucks all lined up. Nobody was going anywhere. And there was a guy walking across the parking lot in his shorts. He was like, it's -3 degrees out here. And this fool has his shorts on. Yeah. Oh, Karen says -3 and no water. See, that's rough. That's where it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, when the pipes are frozen and the power is out, that's a little bit too much for me. But so for those of you who are in those kinds of situations, I hope that you are safe and staying warm, and I'm sending my love your way and wishing I could take at least some of the snow from you. Gosh, you guys, so much snow. Christine said she needed an excuse to stop shoveling snow. Goodness. The weather's crazy, I'm telling you. It's crazy in some places, and then in other places we're just sitting here like, I don't know what everybody else is talking about. Like, all my packages are delayed. And I'm like, really? It's just, there's no reason. Forget the rest of you. Oh, she's in Kansas City. Who's in Kansas City? Back it up. Let's see here. Oh, Julia. Julia's in Kansas City. Go Chiefs. Hey, I have on my Kansas City shirt. I got on my Mahomes bracelets. Yes, I do. A balmy 7. Oh my gosh, you guys, I live in the wrong place. Hey, Katie. Hi, Miss Katie. How are you? Terry, this is just always that one person. Thank God he had shorts on, right? Oh, gosh. All right, so let's chat, shall we? You guys, yesterday, I got a lot of work done yesterday, which for a Monday, that's pretty amazing for me, because you guys know how I feel about Mondays. And yesterday, I drank one of those, you know, those Starbucks that come in the glass bottles? So I drank one of those at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was so tired. I was like, oh, I need a nap so bad. So I went to the couch. It was pouring down rain. I went to the couch, and I was going to take a nap, but my brain from that Starbucks Frappuccino just would not shut up. Like, my body was tired, but my brain was like, no, we are not. So the whole time I'm laying on the couch and listening to it rain, I'm like designing jewelry in my head. So I finally gave up and came up here, and I put together two really awesome pairs of earrings for you guys. So today we're going to do one. These are called the whoa earrings because whoa, those are some major big earrings, right? Whoa, indeed. And then I've got another pair of earrings for you guys on Thursday. And I can't wait for you to see those. They are also whoa, if I do say so myself, but I'm not going to show them to you just yet. You're just going to have to take my word for it, but they involve Swarovski, they involve cup chain, and they involve quick links, and it's just going to be gorgeous. So I made a lot of whoa jewelry this week, which I'm pretty excited about. So yeah, that's the plan. So today we're going to make a pair of earrings. We're going to be using the artistic wire mandrel tool to work with. We're also going to be using some 18 gauge wire and some 24 gauge wire. As far as the 24 gauge wire is concerned, I don't have, it is 24, right? I was using 26 for the one on Thursday. I don't have a measurement on the 24. You're going to need like a lot. I'm going to say like 24 inches is probably going to be enough. Okay. But you don't want to undersell yourself with the wire because you can add it back if you need to, but it looks a little funny. So to make it look seamless as possible, make sure you give yourself enough of the 24 gauge wire to work with. I don't even know where I put mine. Like this is an issue. There's the 20s. I'm going to have to grab my wire. What have I done? Okay. We're all good now. Glad I realized that ahead of time. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing. These are not hard earrings to make. It's just the shape can be a little challenging if you're not used to creating shapes with wire. But I don't think you guys are going to have any problems. You guys are rock stars, so you've totally got that. All right, let's get down to business, shall we? Let's take a look at these beads. Maybe. All right. What can you use 26 for? Lots of wrapping. And you know what? We're going to use some 26 gauge on Thursday. So I'm going to give you a project where you can use the 26 gauge. So just stay tuned for that for sure. All right. So let's take a look at the earrings themselves first before we get moving and shaking on this guy. So you can see these are kind of a funny shape, right? They're, I don't know, they kind of remind me of the tops of buildings in Russia. You know what I'm talking about? Those kind of funny. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so it's not really a circle. It comes up to kind of a point, but then we do have the loops on the bottom here, and we've done some wire wrapping. And I used some daggers because I had found a few in my stash. I don't have a lot, but I did have a few. So I thought the daggers would be cute to hang here. And then we're going to go up both sides with some Swarovski bicones, and then we've got this big beast of a bead in the middle. And before we get started with all of this, I do want to remind you, like, first of all, yes, whoa, this is a huge earring. Second of all, you can totally tone this down. You don't have to make a huge earring, okay? Use the same steps and just make a smaller earring or turn it into a pendant because this will look awesome hanging from some chain. I see Kathy is in the house. Hi, Kathy. I'm starting to worry about you. I didn't hear from you yesterday. I don't like it when I don't hear from you. You make me worry. So I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're here. All right. So here are our beads, and I'm using some fancy head pins. You don't have to use fancy head pins if you don't want to. Just use whatever you got. Okay. You don't even have to use bicones. You don't have to use crystals. You don't have to do any of this. See, terrible salesperson. I'm not selling these, but I mean, the earrings themselves will probably go into the shop, but I'm actually not a terrible salesperson. When I mean it, I can sell just about anything. Toot my own horn there a little bit. Okay, so for the main piece of wire, she was just sewing. Good. I'm glad she's doing something fun that she likes to do. That makes me happy. All right, for the wire, I think you only need, where's my ruler? This place is a mess. I don't even remember my measurements. All right, so 4 inches of 18 gauge wire is what I'm going to use. Hey, Jane. And you can use 16 gauge for this if you want to. 18 gauge is going to be fine because we're going to work hard in this, okay? All right, so this is the part that can be kind of fussy. And it's not hard, it's just fussy. We need to try to find the middle, okay? And we want to place our pliers in the middle. You can use a ruler if you want to. But even when I use a ruler, for whatever reason, I still manage to mess this up. Okay. I'm going right to the side of the 2-inch mark, right, with my pliers. So you can see that 2-inch mark is right up against the side of my pliers. Okay. That's where we want to give our wire the beginnings of our V-shaped bend. Okay. And we want it to be as even as possible. That's why you have to go to the side of the measurement on the ruler instead of right on the money, because you have to take into consideration the surface area of your pliers, right? And where you grip the wire. That's going to make a little bit of a difference. Okay. So then I'm just kind of biting down on my wire on either side of that bend, just to kind of deepen up that bend as much as you can, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be as sharp of a bend as you can get, I guess, right? All right, so we've got our V shape here. Now what we want to do is we're going to bring in our artistic wire mandrel tool, and we're going to use this to create our shape. Now normally when we are putting our wire on our mandrel tool, we're holding it down in the middle with our thumb. Because we have this V shape, we can't do that, so we have to hold on to it on either side of that V shape. And it doesn't really matter what part of the tool you use. Obviously you want to use part of the lower section here that's a bit bigger as opposed to the top section, but it doesn't matter exactly where. You just want to start getting that kind of round shape. So you just want to, you know, wrap your wire around as best as you can to get this shape. Okay, and you can see it's still kind of flat up here at the top. That's totally fine. That's all right. We're going to work on all that. But the first most important thing is just to get this kind of shape to start with. Hi, Nancy. That's okay. We just got started. You're not super late. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to take care of my ends here. And I'm going to use the stepped bell making pliers just because they are, they're not tapered like my round nose pliers, so that I know for sure that my loops are going to be consistent on both sides. Okay. But if you don't have those, just use like your small bell making pliers, your memory wire finishing pliers, or just mark your round nose pliers so that you get the same size loop, right? Okay. So what I want to do, I'm going to use the smallest section of the tool. I'm going to grab one of those ends of the wires. Okay, and I'm going to roll it back to make a loop on one, and I need to do the same thing over here on the other, so I'm going to grab the other one and roll back to make a loop. Okay, so now we've got 2 loops on the end of our funny little shape here, and now what I want to do is I want to grab these with my pliers and turn them, so that now they're facing, instead of facing towards me, they're facing away from me. Okay. So I want to do that for both. It's just a little twist. That's all you need. Okay. Now, if you want to leave your shape this way, you can, but you'll notice on the original earring, mine is, I kind of have to open it up a little bit to accommodate this great big bead here in the center. So I am just going to very carefully with my fingers kind of open this up a bit, right? I don't want to distort it too much, but I do want to kind of get the exact shape that I want, and I can play with it, right? Because we haven't committed. We're going to commit here in just a second with our block and our hammer. Okay, and again, you can come in and kind of bite down with your pliers if you want to really make it the shape that you want it to be. Okay. All right, now I'm going to bring in my block and my nylon hammer for this. And all I'm going to do is just work harden. Okay, and I got to be careful to keep the loops off the edge so that it will lay flat. Okay. Oops. Doesn't help if I'm not actually hitting it. Okay, and I'm going to do both sides. And then I just want to test it. That's pretty good. I want it to keep that shape while we are wire wrapping on it, because I don't want my fingers to warm it up and knock it out of its shape, because once we start wire wrapping, it's a little bit harder to get it back into the shape that we want it to be. Okay. All right. Now, you could make a really cool earring going this direction if you wanted to, right? You could take some chain between here, hang a really cool something here, and do a triangle of chain up to an ear wire. That would be an awesome earring. Like, kind of wishing I had done that. But we're using it upside down today. We're being a little bit different. Okay, so we're going to use ours in this direction. And that's so funny. Let's see. Vicky says my cat is tapping the table to help you. Yay! Carrie Lee says, if you make your own jump rings, do you need to work harden them? It depends on what gauge they are. If they're 18 gauge, probably not. If you're using 20 gauge to make your jump rings, you might want to work harden them just a little bit. But 18 gauge is pretty good. All right, so we're going to use ours this direction, okay? And what we are going to start with is actually in the middle. And we're going to start with our little daggers. I've got 5 of the daggers. The daggers are top drilled, okay? So they're drilled right across that top section. Let's move everything else out of the way. Okay, so I'm going to give myself about 24 inches of the 24 gauge wire. That may be too much. That's okay. Give yourself at least 18. Don't go any lower than that. Okay, better to be safe than sorry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to thread all of my daggers on, and then I'm going to drop those down to the middle of this piece of wire. We're doing fun wire wrapping this week, and that always puts me in a really good mood. We're not doing any hard wire wrapping this week, but we're doing fun things. I consider this definitely fun. All right, so we've dropped our daggers to the middle of our wire. Okay, and then we want to take the ends, either end of your wire, and we want to go through the loops on our component. Okay. And it does want to fight with you a little bit. That's okay. It's just because it's a longer piece of wire. Okay, see, what you want is you just want to pull those daggers to the middle, and then make sure that you are to the middle of the wire, like the 24 gauge wire. Okay. All right, so there are our daggers here in the middle of our wire, or in the middle of our component and at the middle of the wire. So now what you want to do is you want to take each end and you want to attach it to the component. So I'm going to start over here, and I'm going to take this end, and this is just to kind of anchor it. I'm going to wrap around the component about 2 times right next to that loop. Do you see what I've done? Okay, that's just going to hold this wire in place. Now I can let go. Okay, now with the other one, I'm going to do the same thing. Okay, and I'm coming up through the middle and around the component. Okay, and I just want to wrap around maybe twice. Actually, let's go ahead and do 3 times, because we're going to start with our beads on this side. All right, so we've wrapped around 3 times on that side. So we're going to start over here on the left. And before I get started, I am going to kind of pull my component open again, because we did kind of close it up when we tightened up the daggers here. Okay, so just kind of double checking. All right, that looks good. Okay, so we're going to work on one side at a time. Okay, so I'm going to start over here on the left side, and I'm going to add 6
of these little Swarovski bicones. You can use whatever 4mm bead you want to, okay? Does not have to be a bicone, but what we're gonna do is we are just going to add a bead to the wire. We're gonna drop it down to the surface of the component, okay? And then we are just going to take the wire to the back. So I'm just following the natural path of the wire. It was coming up this way, going through the bead, and now we're going to the back, okay? And I'm gonna wrap 3 times to lock that bead into place. Okay, there's 3. I'm coming up for my number 4, and I'm gonna add another bead. Okay. So the next bead down, I'm gonna hold it into place, take the wire, following the natural path, and wrap 3 times. Okay, and back up here to the front. Yeah, somebody had asked, I think, about the loops. So the loops, we turned them so they're going that way, right? They were facing us, but then we turned them with our pliers. So now they're facing towards the back. Okay, so we're just going to keep going. We're going to add each one of these bicones as we make our way up the side of the component. Okay, and I'm just making sure that I do 3 wraps in between so everything is nice and evenly spaced. Drop down the next bead. Hi, Joanne. It's sunny in California. Nicole, I was wondering where you were. Hi, Dawn. Next bead. Oh, yay. Karen says she ordered from Bargain Bead Box and she can't wait. Did you say, or did you see that in Bead Box Bargains, they have Z beads? I had to get some. I could not stop myself. And the prices were so good, right? The Z beads are expensive. So when I saw those, I was like, yep, using my 30% off coupon on those. I'm excited. They're not here yet, but they should be here soon. But that's why I love that. I love Bargain Bead Box and the Bead Box Bargains site so much. Like, I check it every other day just to see what's new. And you can use your coupon over and over again, which I also really, really love. All right, so I've added all 6 beads and I just want to finish that off just like so. And you can see I've got a little bit of a tail. I'm gonna trim this to the back. Run your finger across it, make sure that it's nice and there isn't a piece sticking up. Okay, so we've done one side already. Like, these earrings work up pretty quickly. No, Motorcrafts, I did not get the snow I've been wishing for. I did not. I got some ice and some really nasty, nasty cold buckets of rain, but no snow. Well, I mean, it's snow flurrying a little bit. Like, every time I look outside, there's some little flurries like blowing around. But for the most part, we just have ice. We have black ice this morning. So yeah, treacherous roads. But that's about it. All right, so now I'm going to work up the other side. Okay, and just add my 6 beads up the other side. Okay, and I want these to kind of be going the same direction. Meaning I want the wire wrap. When I flip this over, you can see the wire? You can see it on the back, but you can't see it on the front. So I want these to be going the same. I want that wire to be going the same. We're working on the opposite side here, but I still want to be sure that that bend in the wire is towards the back, okay? For whatever reason, working on the right side is always more awkward for me. I don't really know why, but it is. But you can see now the wire wrap that's coming out the top of that bead and securing it to the component. You don't see it. If you want to see it, that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not ugly or anything. I just wanted the beads to be the main feature. Okay. I made it. I made the component. And you can go back and watch on the replay to see how we made it. We made it with a 4-inch piece of 18 gauge wire, and we used our artistic wire mandrel tool to create it. So if you want to see how it's made, you can see the step-by-step how to do that. No problem. And guys, everything, all of our Facebook Lives, when they are finished, they get moved over to my YouTube channel, where a lot of people say it's much easier to watch the replays on YouTube. For whatever reason, I think it's just because the controls are easier to use. You can fast forward and rewind in like 10-second segments, and it's either 10 or 15 seconds. But people have better luck watching the replays over there for whatever reason. And also, just a reminder, I know I mentioned this before, but we just got monetized. So, it doesn't make me a lot of money, but you know, nickels and dimes do tend to add up. So if you want to watch the replays, I definitely recommend checking them out on YouTube, because I'd like your nickel, and because the controls are much easier. And of course, if you subscribe over there, you won't ever miss anything. You might miss the live happening as it is live, but you'll get notifications every time the videos are uploaded. So if you missed one, you can catch it, right? Which is cool. So subscribe while you're there. All right, so getting closer to the edge here. I know my fingers are covering up the beads, but you guys kind of know, whoops, what I'm doing. It's just the same thing that we did on the other side. We're just adding a bead to the surface of the component, and then we're wire wrapping 3 times in between the beads, just so that we have the same spacing, right? We want consistent spacing. I do see a little wire wrap here that, do you guys see this guy? See this one? See how it's sticking up a little bit? I'm not a fan. So I'm gonna come in with my pliers and try to coax that little guy into his place. Very carefully, because I don't want to, there we go. I don't want to crack my beads. See how I just went in with my pliers and just made him lay down where he was supposed to go. Okay, little things like that. It's not a deal breaker. You just got to be careful going in there with your tools, particularly when you're working with your Swarovski beads, because they are very soft and you don't want to accidentally like chip the edge, right? So be careful when you're going in there with your tools, but you absolutely can fix little mistakes like that, and it's not a problem. Okay, this is our last bead for this side. Okay. And you can see everything is pretty evenly spaced out on both sides. That's why making sure that you do the same number of wire wraps in between, you know, keep that number consistent, because that's your spacing. That's really what's going to make everything sit without having to measure, right? You let your wire wraps do the measuring for you. All right, so we've got this part ready to go. You can still adjust your component just a little bit. You can't make any major changes to it at this point, but if you need to, you know, kind of separate it out, you can with just some little gentle movements. Don't want to do anything super crazy, but the outer part of our component is ready to go. Now, if this is way too big for you, I know I said this at the top of the project, but I'm going to mention it again, okay? If this is way too big of a hoop, we made this hoop big enough so that we could add this big, huge bead right to the center. But if that's too big, go with a shorter piece of the 18 gauge wire, and instead of using this section of your mandrel, come up here and use the smaller section of the mandrel and make a component that's a little bit smaller. Let's see, let's cut a short piece just for fun, just to see what it would look like if we did that. Okay, so let's pretend for a second that we're making another pair, or we're making a pair and we want that pair to be much shorter, or, you know, not nearly as big, not shorter, but you know, we don't want it to be nearly as wide. So we're going to start out the same way, making that V shape with our wire, right? And now instead of placing it down here, let's put it up here this direction. Put it more up here towards the top. Okay. Now, see how much smaller, right? But still there's enough surface area here to do a lot of things with. I'm going to trim some of this off because obviously we don't need all of that. Right? But we're going to treat this exactly the same. That's such a cutie patootie little shape. We're going to treat this the same way. Okay, we're going to take our pliers to make our loop on both ends. Okay, there's a loop on one end. I'm going to do the same thing over here on this one. Just to give you an idea, because I always say, you know, you don't have to make it as big, but sometimes it's a little bit harder to like envision what that would mean. So since we have a little extra time here for a second, I thought this would be a great opportunity to show you that you absolutely can. You don't have to make it as huge as what we've done, right? Same thing. And I just want to open it up a bit, right? You may need to wiggle around with it a little bit to get more of the, that one was a little bit off center, but you get the idea, right? Same component, still has the same surface area. We just want, let's see if I can fix this. We just want a smaller earring. We don't want a big, huge honking earring. Not everybody is into that, and that's okay. I totally get that. But when I make things, I make them, particularly with earrings, in a way that you can adjust to make it smaller, or you can go with what you've got and make a pendant out of it. But look at the difference, right? This is a more manageable earring for some people than this. You just want to go with smaller beads, right? Same thing. Just a little bit on a little bit smaller scale. So easy to recreate for the size that you're wanting, right? You don't always have to go big. All right, so now we do want to work with our big, beautiful bead here. So I'm going to put this guy on a decorative head pin, and we're just going to do a wrapped loop. So I'm going to grab the top of the wire where it is exiting the bead, and I'm going to bend the wire 90 degrees. Okay, I'm going to come in with my round nose pliers. I'm going to take that wire up and over the top barrel of the pliers. I'm going to roll the pliers out of the way so I can take the wire over here to the other side. And then I'm going to wire wrap in that space between the loop and the top of the bead. Okay. Okay, now I want to come in with my cutter tool and trim off. Make sure that there's not any wire sticking up. If there is, you can just squeeze it down. Okay, now we want to attach this to our component. We're going to use a series of 4mm jump rings to do that. Okay, the 4mm jump rings are going to be our attachments. They're also going to give us a little bit of length here so that our bead hangs more towards the center and not way up here at the top. I want it to be more centered. So I'm going to use a combination of jump rings to get that extra length that I want. So I'm going to take my pliers, open those up, attach this guy, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach another 4mm jump ring to that. Okay, so we've got 2 jump rings on our bead. Now I'm going to take another 4mm jump ring. I'm going to attach it to our bead, but I'm also going to hook it to our component. Okay, and then close that back. We have one more, and this is just going to give us a little bit of space between our component and our ear wire. Okay, so, whoops. Okay, before I close that one, I want to attach my ear wire to it. You know what, Barbara? I bet it is. I bet people are having connectivity issues because of the weather. And there you go. Now that's a whoa. That's a whoa earring right there. A whoa indeed. And we worked that up pretty quickly. You know, we put those together really, really fast. And it's just all about the component. Once you've got the component, you can kind of do whatever you want to do to it. Make it smaller, right? Use maybe 3 daggers instead, or 2 daggers here in the middle, and use, you know, you could still probably get away with the 4mm jump rings along the edges, but you could probably do 3s, right? I don't know that I do 2s. That'd be pretty small. Or you could even use seed beads, right, up the sides. And then for in the middle here, you don't have to have a great big huge bead. In fact, you can leave it open if you want to, or you could use a 6mm bicone, an 8mm bead, something like that would, you know, would be beautiful there instead of this great big bead if that's not your style. Let's see, Sarah, where did you get your decorative head pins? So my decorative head pins actually came from Beadalon. They've got a couple of decorative ones, but I've seen them in other places. I know that if you put decorative head pins in on Amazon, I think you get some that way. Like, I think it'll bring up several. So, all right, guys, I'm going to turn you around and try these on so you can see what they look like, because they definitely look different on than they do sitting right here. So this is just earring number 1 of the week for Showstoppers. Wait until you see Thursday's earrings. Oh, man. So, it's a big earring. Like, I'm not going to lie. That's a big earring. This is a big one. But, you know, if you're feeling big and fancy, go for it. If you're not, make it smaller and still have a fabulous, fun pair of earrings, right? Oh, yeah. I'm feeling all of that. Do I have an Amazon storefront with links? I do not, but I can get, I can post my affiliate links for you. They actually simplified that for me, so I can do that very, very easily. I'll do it over on the Sarah Ellis Designs community page, and give you some links that you can use if you want to. They are showstoppers, Jane. I agree. Like, check those out. Yeah. Those are all kinds of fabulous. So there's this huge trend called Zoom earrings, right? Because so many of us are working from home and doing, you know, things from home, Zoom meetings and all of that. Zoom earrings is a huge, huge trend. So you can't see the rest of your outfit, but you can definitely see your earrings. These would be what I would consider to be Zoom earrings for sure, right? Crazy fun earrings. Yeah, yeah. They don't show up very well because of my hair, so I probably need a different color, but, you know, blue would be gorgeous. Yeah. Green, except I had to be careful not to go with the wrong color green with my hair, because then I look like Christmas all year. So, yeah. Make these for your next board meeting. Do it. You should so do it. You should totally do it. Oh my gosh. Oh, so Joan, and I think somebody else asked too, what are the Z beads? So I don't really know exactly what the Z beads are. It's spelled DZI, and I don't know what that means, but as far as I know, they are agate beads that have, they either have these circles on them or they have a banding that goes around the center, and they're normally like a brown, orange, kind of clay colored bead, but then the banding that is in them is usually either another shade of green, or, I'm sorry, not green, another shade of that kind of clay, brown, orangey color, or green. And I've seen some that are more on the red side.
I really need to kind of look them up. I wish I had some here to show you. I'll show them to you when they come. They should be here soon. Joan says she can't use the button. Joan! Oh no. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on. I think I can fix it. Hold on. Everybody hold on for just a second. So the Z beads, I'm just scrolling for something here. You guys hold on. They're really, really popular. They're very tribal looking. I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure like where they come from. Joan, I'm trying to find your name. Hold on. I found Ginger. Guys, give me just a second. Joan, I don't see your name. Are you even here? Your name's not on the list. I sent one to...
Sent one to Ginger. I don't know. Joan! I can't find you at all. Okay, hold on. Somebody, let's see, Karen says... Karen's my girl. Karen says, Z beads is a type of stone bead of uncertain origin, worn as part of a necklace and sometimes as a bracelet. In several Central Asian cultures, including that of Tibet, the bead is considered to provide positive spiritual benefit. There you go. They're really beautiful. They do have that very tribal kind of vibe to them. My mic got really loud. I'm sorry. I love the way that they look because they mix really well with other natural stones. They look great with, my mic went crazy. I don't know why. I'm okay. Can you hear me now? I'm screaming. I'm not screaming, I promise. That's so weird. Blurry. I didn't touch any of the microphone stuff. I'm so loud. I am so sorry. There's no wiggle. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I'm not screaming. I'll whisper. What happened? Scratchy, blaring. Now I'm fuzzy. Alright, I'm scratchy, I'm blaring, I'm screaming, I'm like, what? Now I'm underwater. Oh my gosh. Okay, hold on. Everybody hold still. Can you hear me now? How does it sound now? This is my ears hurt. I'm so sorry. Oh my gosh. Jane says, I don't know what you did, but my neighbor called and said to turn your TV down. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. You did an extra. I must have wiggled too many times. Okay. You guys can see my earrings. We're at the end of the project, so I'm going to go right before I bust your eardrums. Now I'm silent. What is happening? I don't know. Alright, read my lips. I love you. And I will see you guys on Thursday with another fun pair of earrings. Okay? I love you guys. Bye!